Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about our GigTubers in danger. There have been a lot of events that have led some people to believe that GigTubers are in danger from being deactivated from the platforms that they work on. Some say it's due to their influence, some say that it's due to their actions that they take on the platform, and some don't really know why at all. However, with this taking place on the platforms in question, namely Doordash, it has led to some concern about not only people making content, but people who are concerned for their future of their time on said platforms and looking to advance their exit strategies with that. So with that said, we are talking about some of the recent events that have been taking place in the GigTube space, some of the thoughts that people have been having about it, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain, is never intended to be, legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. So with that said, let's get started. Recent events. So some of the more active and popular GigTubers out there have been deactivated as of late and from some of the more popular platforms. Some quick examples of this include the deactivations on Doordash from popular GigTubers such as Pedro Doordash Santiago and Dashing Across America. It is certainly not uncommon to hear about gig workers getting deactivated, especially when they either deserve it somehow or ask for it. However, this time they are adding a new feature to this Dasher side of things, and that is the in-app support hub. I was notified about this in the Behind the Wheel Discord server, which is a server for gig workers that isn't attached to any single gig worker or content creator. The link is in the description. Feel free to check it out and learn and grow as a gig worker there. But the point being is it seems like Doordash is looking to divert the attention of information, passing from GigTuber to gig worker and more of a Doordash straight to you model, which is not good for gig workers at all, and I will go into that later. Preventing the issue. So let's be real, there are ways to prevent this kind of problem without going into full self-cancellation. Simply put, blur out names if you're going to use screenshots of anything. Do everything by the book for the most part. And it's okay to have a problem with a customer and explain yourself, just don't expose their personal info. Pedro got deactivated for revealing personal info even though he was being discriminated against by the customer. Dashing Across America got deactivated by a Starbucks who was being discriminated against by the Starbucks that earned a reputation for discriminating against gig workers on a general scale. It's clear that customers and merchants are free and clear to discriminate against drivers without consequences on the Doordash platform, which is just gross, but there are workarounds. If a merchant discriminated against you, you could still talk about them. Just don't show the in-app order. Show their Yelp page. I think that's going to do more damage, especially if you link it in the description. So that's probably going to be more long-term beneficial for you. Customers are a little tougher, but as long as you stick to the no tip, no trip rule of thumb, then you should see a significant decrease in the number of crappy douchebag customers that you see. It could be harder for some type of orders, but you can get the hang of it if you keep it simple. Let's also be real, Doordash doesn't need much if they want to get rid of you. They're just going to get rid of you. The goal is simply to reduce the risk until the long-term goal is reached, and it really only matters if your dependence on Doordash is too high to begin with, which is why it's important to diversify your gig portfolio and develop an exit strategy. But again, we'll go into that in a bit. Freedom of speech violated. Now, some people have made the point about their freedom of speech being violated, and that's not necessarily true. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of consequences. Too many people want to make this point thinking that they could say what they want and when they want it, and they shouldn't be penalized for saying what they want and when they want it. That is exactly why we should have the right to say, hey, this person is treating me like crap because I'm a gig worker. Or, hey, Doordash retaliated against me in this way, which opens them up for legal action, and if they didn't have arbitration agreements in place, they would be down under by now. But keep in mind, just like you have the right to share your perspective and expose them for the crap that they do, they also have the right to terminate your contract or throttle the amount of orders you receive so hard that you basically can't sustain an income on the platform anyway. So make sure if you do pull something like that, you have removed enough dependence from them so that way their piss poor integrity and character cannot affect you enough to begin with. This goes for all the platforms too. Delivered is a company that steals tips and tip fronts on drivers and scams people so hard that they can't rely on influencers enough because they can't be trusted. And they are trying to develop their own following, and it's failing so hard it's cringe as hell. After Veho deactivated me, the first thing I did was expose the individuals who contributed to scamming me, and I have made more money on other platforms since after leaving them. Some platforms are literally just an anchor holding you back from making more money on other platforms because there's some mental attachment to them. User testing isn't even sending me tests at all anymore. I think they shadow banned me without actually deactivating me. The point is, I could say these things because I don't have to worry about the consequences anymore. What are they gonna do if I talk about how they operate in a shady way? Reactivate me so I can be deactivated again? Oh no.
But Joe, this is the internet, and it's on there forever for employers to see. What if they see you complaining about all these other companies? Wouldn't that affect your ability to hold a job?
Let me put it to you this way. If my goal was to go back to the corporate world, maybe. But if my goal is to be in business for myself, then I don't have to worry about that as much. Up to you on how you want to navigate that for your future, but that's just me. Avoid unnecessary risk. Now, I know after what I was just saying about not being too dependent on any one company, you can be free to do what you want, but that doesn't mean you tempt fate and get deactivated. There are some things you should keep in mind. You may not be diversified enough. You don't want to lose an account for the sake of showing them. If you have a story with somebody treating you badly, you could do one of two things. You can make the video yourself about it and just blur out sensitive data. Totally fine. Send it to a creator to make a video about it for you, and make sure you ask to remain anonymous and blur out sensitive data themselves. Yes, my email is an option. That's in the description. But if you find that you resonate with another creator more and they want to talk about it, feel free to email them as well. Pedro Doordash Santiago said he's going to keep talking about it because people keep emailing him stuff anyway. Zach Drives Fast, Kim Side Money Plans, Rideshare Rodeo. There are plenty more, and there are so many other people who would do that for you. Just make sure that you're reaching out, you know? And then there's always 3 is to keep it to yourself until you're in a better position to take said risks. But don't egg on deactivation, and don't intentionally do things deactivation worthy just so you can get a few views, you know? Attention diverted. Now, it has been clear for a while that Doordash is trying to silence the majority of GigTubers for a while. The topic comes up more when GigTubers actually get deactivated. This topic came up when Nugs got deactivated, but it really has always been the truth, especially when they start to talk crap about the company and haters look for openings to report people they don't like. Both Pedro and Dash Across America got deactivated by a report for creating an unsafe environment, which is really ironic because according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, delivery workers in general are at high risk for work-related injuries and fatalities more than law enforcement and more than construction workers. That's right, we're being discriminated against. We are treated like dog crap by merchants, support agents, and customers, and the companies themselves. We are physically in danger more than they will ever be in a lot of cases, but we're the ones getting deactivated and mistreated. But they care about our safety, right? Not to mention how they started to put up Dasher support pages in the app so people wouldn't look elsewhere for their policies. Because why look through the lens of a gig worker who has experienced what you've been through when you can look through the lens of the app that you're currently using? Here's the reality. You never learn from a gig company on how to succeed as a gig worker. Because the goal of a gig company and the goal of a gig worker are two different things. You want to learn from people in the trenches with you. Is this the end of GigTubers? Honestly, I've said this before as well. It really depends on the type of GigTuber you are. The Doordash tuber, these guys are the most in danger. Not only does their channel depend on the concept of that they have to be driving for DoorDash, they'll need to say the right things all the time. They will not only lose their source of active income, but the income they made from YouTube as well, especially if you're doing ride-alongs for the most part. Imagine losing your ability to make content because you said something that some upstairs tool or some downstairs tool reporting to that upstairs tool disagreed with, or you took a hard right, or more on the normal reasons, you got too good at what you do and you became a liability over an asset. Either way, these people are always in danger because of the lack of diversity in their gig portfolio and their content. GigTubers, like people who are on multiple platforms, are less in danger because of the content that they create. They also can just make content for another platform. They can do ride-alongs for other gigs or even their own gigs. Carson Cribbs has evolved into much more than gig work and has even got himself into the cargo van space and the independent career space. All of his content is based on him doing the work himself. He probably started in the gig economy space, and that's fine, but he worked his way out, and that's okay too. You can absolutely do the same thing. You just gotta put in the work to transition there. Now, the gig economy content creator, that's in my opinion where I would like to think I'm at. This is where you can talk about all different types of gigs and not necessarily be bound to a single gig or a single kind of content, such as ride-alongs. I do a lot of news content. I do a lot of gig reviews. I've been making tax content for gig workers. And I'm not just on YouTube. Yes, YouTube pays the best, but when I said diversify your gig portfolio, you can also apply that concept to your exit strategy. I'm also on TikTok, Rumble, X, Instagram. Yes, I don't make much on Rumble, and I'm not even monetized on other platforms. I have yet to expand into other platforms the way I want to, including my own website that I keep putting off because I don't know how I want to lay out the actual website. But the fact remains that you don't have to put all of your proverbial eggs in one basket. Now, I didn't say chase all these rabbits and catch none. You don't want to just wear yourself out by not developing the proper system so you can manage them properly. I'm saying grow your business in such a way that it becomes sustainable, and if something happens in that market or space, you could just say, F it, you have other ways to make money now. You will have so much more control that way, and you will feel a sense of liberation you wouldn't have otherwise. Final thoughts. Before I get too deep into my own thoughts, I do want to share an email I received from my subscriber. Brooks, thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this part of the video possible. So I created a channel and everything and was just about to start throwing up videos about my door dashing experiences in the Charlotte, North Carolina market. However, with all the damn deactivations and shenanigans going on, I just put the whole thing on hold for now. I absolutely love your channel. There have been days in my W-2 job that I don't know if I would have made it through without being able to laugh at some of your silliness. I just don't know if people give creative folk like you enough kudos for everything you do for people like me. It's really nice when you can learn a lot about something you're interested in or involved in, and you get completely entertained along the way. I have a couple of things that might make good content, but like I said, I'm putting that off for now. I just get the feeling it's not good timing for me to start doing something in that niche. So I might send some stuff to you, not for credit or mentions or anything like that, but who knows, it might be something you want to use. Well, first off, thank you for all of the kind words. I sincerely appreciate all of them, and I'm glad that you're getting as much of the value as I could provide you in this regard, because honestly, no, we don't get enough credit. As gig workers or creatives. But just because it seems like GigTubers are under the gun, I wouldn't say it's not a reason for you not to do the groundwork for yourself. I appreciate the kind words for sure, and I'm very thankful for all the opportunities I have to make an impact to those who watch my content. But don't hold yourself back because Doordash is playing the part of the boogeyman right now. Just be smart about it and remove your dependence from them at some point. Because who knows, maybe you'll have a chance to make some kind of impact that I can't and help pass along the message to somebody who can better hear it from you than some tool like me. Either way, whether it is you or anyone else, especially since you said you want to send content to somebody if you're not going to do it yourself, feel free to email me about something happening in your market. My email is drivenwyld@gmail.com. Feel free to email me there. And who knows, maybe you will get a shout out in a video as well. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.